Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Grow with Keely. I'm so grateful you're here. Whether you're listening while you're driving, cleaning the house, out for a walk, or maybe you've finally given 5 minutes to look after yourself after a busy day, thank you for pressing play. Today's episode is called Don't Force It to Fit. And honestly, I think this could be one of the most important conversations I've ever had on this podcast. Because today isn't just about romantic relationships. It's about friendship. It's about family. It's about the people we continuously pour our time, love, energy, and kindness into, even when we're slowly running empty ourselves. I want to start by asking you a question. Have you ever felt like you were always the one making the effort? Always the one checking in? Always the one messaging first? Always the one helping? Always the one saying yes, and always the one making excuses for someone else's behaviour. Maybe you found yourself thinking, if I just do a little bit more, maybe they'll appreciate me. If I keep showing up, maybe they'll choose me. If I keep helping, maybe they'll finally see my worth. And if you've ever had thoughts like that, I want you to know something. You are not weak, you are not needy, and you are certainly not alone. For years, I believed that my value came from what I could do for other people. I thought being kind meant always saying yes. I thought being supportive meant never letting anyone down. I thought love, friendship, and even family relationships were something I had to earn. But over time, I realised something. Healthy relationships aren't built on one person constantly proving their worth. They're built on something much healthier. Something I now call the double E. The double E stands for the energy exchange. Now, before you picture keeping score or measuring every little thing someone does, this is not what that is. Life isn't always 50-50. Sometimes your friend needs more from you. Sometimes your partner is struggling. Sometimes a family member needs extra support. That's part of loving people. But over time, healthy relationships have an energy exchange. The care comes back. The support comes back, the effort comes back, the checking in comes back. The double E simply asks one question. Is there a healthy exchange of energy in this relationship? Because if you're constantly pouring into someone who never pours back into you, eventually you stop recognizing yourself. Today we're going to talk about what that looks like, how to recognize it, how it affects your confidence and self-worth, and most importantly, how to stop forcing yourself to fit into relationships that only work because you keep carrying them. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's have a conversation. Before we talk about friendships, family, and relationships, I want to tell you a little bit about my journey. Because if you would have met me a few years ago, I would have told you that I was just a caring person. I would have said things like, I just like helping people. I'll always be there if someone needs me. And while that was true, there was another truth I hadn't recognised yet. I didn't just enjoy helping people. I believed my worth depended on it. Somewhere along the way, I convinced myself that the more I gave, the more valuable I'd become. So I became the person people could always rely on. The one who would drop absolutely everything. The one who would always answer the phone. The one who would always say yes. Who would always try and fix everyone else's problems before even looking at mine. And for a while, that did feel good. It felt like I had a purpose. It felt like I mattered. But over time, something started to change. I began noticing a pattern. The conversations I was having were nearly always the same. Could you watch my kids? Can I borrow some money? Can you help me with this? Could you do me a favour? And the hardest part? I ignored it. Because the people pleaser inside me had a story running over and over again. If I help them, they'll like me. If I keep showing up, they'll choose me. If I'm useful enough, they'll keep me around. So yeah, I kept giving. I kept saying yes. I kept putting myself last because I thought that's what good people did. Until one day, I realised something that completely changed the way I saw relationships. The request hadn't changed, but my expectations had. What had started as occasional favours had slowly become expected. People expected me to always be available, always be understanding, always be the one who made the effort, And I had never stopped to ask myself, who's making that effort for me? Who's checking in on me? Who's asking how I'm coping? Who's pouring back into me? And that's when I realised I wasn't just exhausted. I was emotionally drained. Not because I didn't have people around me, but because I was constantly giving my energy away without ever asking whether it was being returned. And that realisation for me was really uncomfortable, because I had to accept that I wasn't just surrounded by one-sided relationships. I was also playing a part in keeping them. Not because I deserved it, not because I wasn't enough, but because I'd never believed I was allowed to expect more. And if that's where you are today, if you're listening and thinking, that sounds exactly like me, I want you to hear this. You do not have to earn your place in someone's life by exhausting yourself. You don't have to prove your worth by constantly giving. Real love, real friendship, and real connection aren't built on one person carrying all the weight. They're built on a healthy exchange of care, respect, and effort. And that's exactly what we're going to explore next. Now I want to share something that's completely changed the way I look at relationships. I call it the double E. The double E stands for the energy exchange. And no, it's not about keeping score. It's not about saying, well, I brought them a coffee, so they owe me one. It's not about counting every text message, every favour, or every act of kindness. Because healthy relationships don't work like that. Life isn't always 50-50. Sometimes your friend is going through a difficult time. Sometimes your partner is struggling with their mental health. Sometimes a family member needs extra support. Sometimes you'll be the one giving 80% and they'll only be able to give 20%. Then another day, the roles might be reversed. That's healthy, that's life. The double E isn't about balance every single day. It's about balance over time. It's about asking yourself, does the energy I give eventually come back in a healthy way? Not necessarily in the same form, but in a way that reminds me I matter too. So whenever I feel confused about a relationship now, I do a double E check. And I ask myself, when I need someone, who shows up? When I achieve something, who celebrates me? When life feels heavy, who checks in? Who asks me how I'm doing? Who makes me feel safe enough to say, I'm actually not okay? Then I ask myself another question. If I stopped making all the effort tomorrow, would this relationship continue, or would it slowly disappear? That question can be really uncomfortable, because sometimes we realise we've been carrying the relationship for years. And here's something I want to say. I think it's really important. There is a huge difference between someone going through a difficult season and someone who has built a pattern of only taking from you. Seasons pass, patterns repeat. Don't confuse the two. Healthy people may need more from us sometimes, but unhealthy patterns leave us feeling emotionally drained all the time. Have you ever spent time with someone and walked away feeling exhausted? Not physically, emotionally. Like you've poured every ounce of yourself into them. That's your body trying to tell you something. Now compare that to the people who leave you feeling lighter, the people who make you laugh, who listen without judgment, who ask how you are and actually wait for the answer. That's the difference a healthy exchange makes. Because relationships shouldn't constantly empty you. They should also refill you. Not perfectly, not every day, but enough that you don't lose yourself trying to keep them alive. And here's something I'd love you to think about. Close your eyes for a second. Picture the 5 people you give the most energy to. Now ask yourself, do I feel appreciated by these people? Do I feel safe with these people? Can I be completely myself around these people? Or have I been confusing being needed with being valued? Because those are 2 very different things. Being needed feels like, what can you do for me? Being valued feels like, I'm grateful you're in my life. One keeps you useful, the other makes you feel loved. And you deserve relationships where you're loved, not just relied on. So before we move on to talking about friendships, I want you to remember one sentence. The goal isn't to keep everyone happy. The goal is to build relationships where the energy flows both ways. So let's start with friendships, because I think friendships can be some of the hardest relationships to let go of. Not because they're always healthy, but because of the history. We tell ourselves, we've been friends for years. They've always been there. maybe they're just busy, maybe I'm expecting too much. And sometimes that's true, life does get busy, and people become parents, they change jobs, and they move away. Healthy friendships naturally go through seasons, where one person might have more to give than the other. But again, there's a difference between a season and a pattern. For me, friendships became one of the biggest lessons in recognising the double E, because I realised I was always the one making the effort. I was checking in, remembering birthdays, sending the just thinking of you messages. I was making plans, rearranging my life to fit around theirs. I was listening to hours of conversations about what they were going through, and I wanted to because that's who I am. I cared deeply about people. But then I started asking myself, if I stopped doing those things, would they notice? Would they check in? Would they wonder where I've gone? Or would the friendship quietly disappear? That question was uncomfortable, because the answer wasn't always what I wanted it to be. Sometimes I realised I wasn't actually being chosen. I was simply being relied upon. And there's a difference. Being relied upon can make you feel important, but being valued made you feel loved. I also realised something else. I had become everyone else's safe place, but I didn't really have one of my own. I knew who everyone else had to call, but I couldn't always answer that question. Who can I call? That hit me really hard, because you can be surrounded by people and still feel incredibly lonely. If you've ever felt like that, like the friend who's always there for everyone else, I want you to hear this. Being a kind person is a beautiful quality. Being a supportive friend is something to be proud of, but your kindness should never become the reason people stop considering your needs. A healthy friendship doesn't just ask, can you help me? It also asks, how are you? How can I support you? I've noticed you've been quiet lately. Are you okay? Those little moments matter, because they remind us that we're seen. And maybe that's what I want you to think about today. When you think about your closest friendships, do you feel seen? Do you feel heard? Do you feel appreciated? Or do you mainly feel needed? They're very different things. The truth is, some friendships are for a season, some are for a lifetime, and some quietly come to the end because one person keeps growing, while the other relationship stays exactly the same. That's not failure, that's life. It doesn't mean either of you are a bad person. It simply means the energy exchange no longer exists in the way it once did. And sometimes, the kindest things you can do is stop forcing a friendship to fit just because you're scared of letting go. Because making space in your life doesn't always mean losing people. Sometimes, it makes room for people who were always meant to find you. Now let's talk about family. I think this is probably one of the hardest conversations to have, because unlike friendships, we don't choose our family. We often are taught from a very young age that family comes first, that you stand by family no matter what, that because they're family, you should always forgive, always understand, always be available. And I think those messages can make us feel incredibly guilty when a family relationship starts to feel one-sided. Maybe you're the person everyone calls when they need something. You're the organizer, the problem solver, the babysitter, the one who keeps the peace, the one who remembers everyone's birthdays, the one who checks in, the one who drops everything. But I want to ask you something. When was the last time somebody in your family checked in on you? Not because they needed something, not because they wanted a favour, just because they genuinely wanted to know how you were doing. Sometimes we become so used to carrying everyone else that nobody even notices we're struggling. And sometimes we become so good at saying, I'm fine, that people stop asking. Now I want to be really clear. I'm not saying every family relationship should be equal every single day. Families go through difficult times. People become carers. People experience illnesses, grief, financial struggle. There will be seasons where one person naturally gives more than another. But if you've spent years feeling unseen, years feeling like your role in the family is simply to keep everyone else happy, it might be time to ask yourself, is this a season or is this a pattern? Because they're not the same. One of the biggest lessons I've had to learn is that love and boundaries can exist together. You can love someone deeply and still recognize that a relationship isn't healthy for you. You can care about someone and still say no. You can support someone without sacrificing yourself. For so long, I believed that saying no meant I didn't care. Now I realise, sometimes saying no is one of the healthiest ways to care for yourself. The double E has really helped me here, because instead of asking, am I being a good daughter? Am I being a good sister? Am I being a good family member? I start asking, is there a healthy energy exchange in this relationship? Do I feel respected? Do I feel appreciated? Can I be honest about how I'm feeling? Can I say no without feeling punished or guilty? Because healthy relationships, even family relationships, should make space for both people, not just one. I know this conversation might feel uncomfortable for some people listening. It certainly was for me. But here's what I want you to remember. Being related to someone doesn't automatically make the relationship healthy. And recognizing that doesn't mean you love your family any less. It simply means you're acknowledging that your well-being matters too. Because your role in your family shouldn't just be to hold everyone else together. You deserve people who help hold you together too. As we move into the next part of this episode, I want you to carry on with one question in your mind. When you think about your family relationships, do you leave them feeling loved, or do you leave them feeling emotionally drained? Because the answer to the question might tell you more than you realise. If you listen this far, I imagine one of two things has happened. Either you've recognised someone in your life, or you've recognised yourself. And if that's the case, I want you to know something. Please don't listen to this episode and leave feeling guilty. This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about understanding yourself. Because here's what I've realised. The biggest battle wasn't with the people around me. It was the story I kept telling myself. The story said, if I do more, they'll love me more. If I'm always available, they'll choose me. If I keep saying yes, they'll appreciate me. And if I don't help, they'll leave me. For years, I genuinely believed my worth was measured by how useful I was. I wasn't trying to build relationships, I was trying to actually earn them. And those are two very different things. Because when you're constantly trying to earn your place in someone's life, you'll accept anything that you would never encourage someone you love to accept. You'll excuse behaviour that hurts you. You'll ignore the exhaustion. You'll silence your own needs. You'll convince yourself that asking for the bare minimum is somehow asking for too much. But one day, something shifted. And I asked myself a question I'd never asked before. What if I was already enough? Not because of what I do, not because of what I give, not because of how available I am, but simply because I'm me. That question changed everything. Because once you truly believe that you're enough, you stop chasing people who made you feel like you aren't. You stop proving, performing. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that were never designed to hold you. And instead, you start choosing peace. You start choosing relationships where you don't have to earn a text back. You earn kindness, respect, love, because those things shouldn't have to be earned. And I want you to hear this next part incredibly carefully. You are not difficult because you want effort returned. You are not selfish because you need support. You are not asking for too much because you want someone to check in on you. You're asking for what healthy relationships naturally give. There's a huge difference. Some of us have become so used to surviving on crumbs that when we ask for a slice of bread, we think we're being greedy. We're not. We've just forgotten what healthy feels like. And I think that's one of the saddest things about one-sided relationships. They don't just drain your energy, they slowly convince you that you're lucky to receive whatever little is left. But you're not. You deserve conversations where people genuinely want to know how your day was. You deserve friendships where someone notices when you've gone quiet. You deserve family relationships where your well-being matters too. You deserve a relationship where you don't have to constantly wonder where you stand. You deserve peace. You deserve an energy exchange. Not because you've earned it, but because every human being deserves relationships built on mutual care and respect. So today, I want you to replace one sentence with another. Instead of saying, if I do more, they'll love me, say, I deserve relationships where effort flows both ways. And instead of saying, maybe I'm asking for too much, say, maybe I've been asking the wrong people. Instead of saying, I have to keep proving my worth, say, my worth isn't something I have to prove. It's something I already have. Because here's the truth. The people who truly love you won't need you to exhaust yourself just to keep your place in their lives. They'll make room for you. They'll check in on you. They'll celebrate you. They'll care about your heart, not just your help. And once you've experienced relationships like that, you'll never want to force yourself to fit anywhere else again. As we come to the end of today's episode, I want you to take a moment, take a deep breath, and ask yourself one simple question. What relationships feel like an energy exchange, and which one feels like an energy drain? Not because you're about to cut everyone out of your life, not because you're about to end every relationship that's difficult, but because awareness changes everything. Once you've noticed the pattern, you can't unsee it, and sometimes that's uncomfortable. Sometimes you'll realise you spent years trying to convince people to value you, years trying to prove that you're enough, years believing your kindness had to be earned through constant sacrifice. But today, I hope something has changed. I hope you leave this episode knowing that your worth has never been measured by how much you're willing to give away. Your worth has never been determined by how available you are. Your worth has never depended on how useful you are to other people. You're worthy before you answered the phone. You were worthy before you lent the money. You were worthy before you babysat. You were worthy before you fixed everyone's problem. You were worthy simply because you're you, and maybe that's what I want you to remember most. Kindness is a beautiful thing. Compassion is a beautiful thing. Supporting people is a beautiful thing, but not when it costs you your peace, not when it costs you your confidence, not when it costs you your identity, because the healthiest relationships don't ask you to disappear. They make room for you to exist. They don't just celebrate what you do, they celebrate who you are. So here's my challenge for you this week. Do one double E check. Think about one relationship that's been on your mind. It could be a friendship, a family relationship, a romantic relationship. Then ask yourself, do I leave this relationship feeling lighter or heavier? Do I feel valued or simply needed? Am I constantly proving my worth, or do I know I already belong? Those answers might be uncomfortable, but they might also be the beginning of your healing. Because healing isn't always about finding new people. Sometimes it's about changing the way you see yourself. The moment you stop believing, if I do more, they'll love me more, and start believing, I deserve relationships where love, care, and effort flows both ways, everything begins to change. So if no one has told you today, let me be the one to tell you. You are worthy of being checked in on. You are worthy of being chosen. You are worthy of being appreciated. You are worthy of relationships that feel safe. And you are worthy of taking up space without feeling like you have to earn it. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to share it with someone who might need to hear this message, and don't forget to follow the podcast so you never miss an episode. Until next time, protect your peace, know your worth, and never force yourself to fit into places that you were never willing to make room for you. Take care of yourselves and keep growing.